What is up, everybody? Welcome to Fan Film Reviews. My name is Zach Golden, and today I am going to be reacting and reviewing The Mandalorian Chapter 16.5, The Hunting. This is a brand new fan film that came out just a couple of days ago. I've seen like 15 seconds of it, and from what I could see, it looked really awesome. So I'm stoked to be able to sit here and watch this for the first time. Also, be sure to check out my personal Star Wars fan film that just came out a few months ago, The Foretelling, a Jedi Fallen Order story. If you want to watch it, the link is in the description below, so be sure to check that out. And without further review, let's watch this fan film. Looks like they're really trying to make it feel like a continuation of the Disney Plus show. Looks like he replaced his ship. Looks very similar to the Razor Crest. Very nice. Very nice.
We got eyes, Captain.
Wow, that's impressive.
Admiral, we made contact with the ground team on Tatooine.
Whoa,
Excellent. Put him through.
that was... wow.
Location of the child. Well done, Captain. Bring it to me. Alive. Yes, sir.
Isn't Thrawn supposed to be missing with Ezra, though?
As expected. He is a Mandalorian, and do not underestimate him.
Understood, sir.
Thrawn's supposed to be missing with Ezra. How is he back?
That Beskar. Yeah, you could hit anything. Alpha team, double back to the ship and secure the package. Alpha team, moving now. Let's roll. Mandalorian's on the move. Bravo team, on me. Let's go get us some Beskar. Captain, status Apollo. He's still just walking. 579, better not lose visual. The Grand Admiral will have our bucket. Don't move, Mandalorian. We have you surrounded. Don't even think about it. Ceasefire! Ceasefire! If you see the Mandalorian, kill him. K-775 is on my back. K4 ports away. Are you there? What is this stuff? Your eyes open, man. Does anyone have a visual? I can't see anything. I don't see him. I saw him. He went this way. CK495. Coming on. Sergeant, is anyone on comm? I repeat, yeah. Where is he? We got a man down. Follow. Guys, where are you?
Nice.
That helmet is gonna look good on my wall.
Then come and take it off of my dead body.
Voice actor is pretty good.
You're not going anywhere.
Who was that? Finnick Shan, Boba Fett. Some kind of scum or villainous person. He misses Grogu. Sand person, maybe? Looks like they're using like a false background or green screen. Interesting. It's over, Anakin. I have the high ground. Oh! Nice.
I thought Mandalorian weapons were treated with more respect.
Nice. That's a good voice actor.
So, what brings you back to Tatooine, Mando? The guild. Are you still with the child? I did, okay.
Wow.
Do my bidding, and the Sith will rule once more.
Very nice. Very nice. Very cool. Yeah, that was interesting. Lots of great tricks. You know, using the green screen and the false backgrounds. You really worked with what you had. Camera work was good. Acting felt very natural. Voice acting was probably the best thing in this thing. Boba Fett sounded like Boba Fett. Din Djarin sounded like Din Djarin. Thrawn sounded like Thrawn. It was all very impressive. And it looks like you guys had a lot of fun Very nice. Oh, okay. So my initial thoughts are, I'm very invested in The Mandalorian, the whole story of The Mandalorian. So seeing something like this is very intriguing. Like I wanna know where Din Djarin is after season 2. So it's a great place to explore. I liked how you guys really tried to kind of pull people back into that Mando phase, where it's almost like we've waited for season 3 to roll around, and now it's finally here, and we're able to watch the first episode. So I liked how you guys went all out trying to get us there. There were a couple of things that didn't sit very well with me. The Star Wars intro and the original themes by Ludwig and John, and I've said this in past fan film reviews. It's like when you use other people's work, when you use original Star Wars soundtrack in your projects, I mean, you're obviously going to get the best of the best. I mean, because that's what it is. That's the Star Wars music. But at the same time, it's like, it's almost like and I know this isn't what's going on in your hearts, but at the same time, it's like you are taking advantage of the work of professionals and using people's hard work to which you put no effort in. At the end of the day, you're pulling stuff off of YouTube or iTunes and saying and just slapping it into your film and hoping for the best. For a lot of people, they're not going to think twice about it. It's just going to go over their heads. They'll buy into it and be like, hey, this is just part of the Mandalorian story. It makes sense to have Ludwig's Mandalorian theme in there. But once you kind of, when you've seen enough fan films doing the same thing, you get to the point where it's like, okay, we need some originality. We need some original effort to go in and compose our own soundtrack, because at the end of the day, we don't want that copyright notice, we don't want that copyright notice in the description of our films. I think it's safe to say that everybody would sleep better knowing that their video is void of any kind of copyright claim. And plus, it's just respectful. It's the respectful thing to do. So, using the soundtrack, sure, why not? It's happened. There's nothing we can do about it at this point. But I do think in the future, it's important that as Star Wars fans and as people who, have that passion and want to take time out of their lives to make a film production, I think we need to also add on top of that heavy load a pursuit of original soundtrack. And I think it's very important that we get there. The second thing that stood out to me that just left me scratching my head was Thrawn. One of the most intriguing plot points of season 2 was Ahsoka and her searching for Grand Admiral Thrawn. When she makes her debut, she's after that one chick, I forget her name, but she's looking for Thrawn. And I feel like if Thrawn was with the Imperial remnants, finding Thrawn would not be the most difficult thing in the world, because there's only so many Imperials left. And if you're looking for Thrawn, even though it's a very big galaxy, finding Thrawn is not going to be a very difficult thing to do. And when you look at the current history of where things are, Ezra and Thrawn are missing. They're not in the galaxy, or that we know of. They're more than likely in the unknown regions. So why Thrawn makes an appearance in this fan film, I really don't quite understand. It's awesome. Like, don't get me wrong, it's cool seeing a live action Thrawn. The guy looks like him. The voice actor did a great job sounding like him. So being able to see that, super cool. I like it. But it doesn't make sense. So it's kind of like, where do you sit in that? I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. If it were me, I would not have put Thrawn in this thing. But at the same time, if you're capable of doing something cool, if you have the resources, you have the makeup, you have the actors, why not? That's what fan films are for. It's almost like an alternate universe where things are slightly different but the same. It's not owned by Disney, but it sure is owned by us. You know what I'm saying? And so we can do whatever the heck we want. But I do feel like if you go out of the way to include the Star Wars intro at the beginning, if you go out of your way to have this sense of continuity since the season 2 finale, it makes sense that you would avoid anything that kind of conflicts with the current timeline, and that means Thrawn. The third thing that kind of it was cool to see, and yet again I hesitate before I have like a solid opinion on this, but maybe some of you are with me. Din Djarin with the Darksaber. I would have loved to have understood why Bo-Katan let him have it, because if he has the Darksaber, that means he is the ruler of Mandalore. And if he is the ruler of Mandalore, why is he on Tatooine, just doing his thing? And that's another question I have, is like, why was he on Tatooine to begin with? He shows up, he opens up that hologram thing. I couldn't quite make out what it was, but it looks like he's looking for something. Is he looking for Boba Fett? Was that what that whole thing was? Because Boba Fett just seemed to come out of nowhere. So it's almost like they, communicated, like, hey, we're going to meet somewhere, and then that's what this is about. And if that's the case, what are they meeting for? There's just things that I felt needed an explanation. Why does Din Djarin have the Darksaber? Why is he on Tatooine? Why is Boba Fett, the king of the underworld, out in the middle of nowhere, where he's vulnerable, where he can be snuck up on, just like Din Djarin was snuck up on by the other stormtroopers. So there's questions that I felt needed to be answered. And you know what? If the director is saving those questions for the next episode, then okay, I guess that's fine. I think it would have been much better to answer those questions in the first episode, because if you're kicking off some kind of mini-series, I do think it's important that we understand the context of what's happened, what's happening, and what will happen. We know what's already happened. I don't understand what's happening right now, and I have no idea what's happening later. Like the guy whips out a lightsaber. Who the heck is this guy? Is he a Sith Lord, an acolyte, whatever? Din Djarin draws his lightsaber. Cut to credits. Next thing we know, we get a little tiny snippet of Din Djarin with his helmet damaged. He's on the floor, and the guy is contacting Sidious. Like, we should have seen that duel. We should have seen that interaction. We should have seen Din Djarin go down, because at that point, then it's like, okay, this is the story that we're following. Din Djarin is defeated. He's being taken to Sidious, apparently. The stage is set. At that point, you have your miniseries laid out. You have a following. But I'm sitting here just trying to figure out what exactly is happening. What's the motivation of Din Djarin right now? What's the motivation of Boba Fett, these Sith acolytes? If Luke Skywalker, the most powerful Jedi Knight to exist right now, why is Sidious, the most powerful Sith in the galaxy, hunting down a bounty hunter. You would think that he'd be able to sense that Grogu is no longer in Din Djarin's hands, and it's all just a matter of reconnaissance. You know what I'm saying? So there's plot holes that are keeping me from being 100% on board with this. But that's not to say this fan film is not an impressive feat. And I say that because, one, the cinematography was great. It felt very cinematic, like I was watching a real Mandalorian episode. The editing was decent. There were some great moments. There were some moments that kind of jarred me. There was a moment with the scout trooper where the 180-degree rule was broken, so I was a little let down by that. There was a couple of moments where I could actually see the cameraman reflecting off of Din Djarin's armor, and it's a bummer. I applaud you for the efforts. I'm sure having to go in there and remove the cameraman out of the armor reflection is like, I don't even know where to begin with that sort of stuff. That seems like such a mountain to climb. But, again, it happened. Costumes, fantastic. You got some stormtroopers. You got a convincing Din Djarin. You got a decent Boba Fett. Special effects, the lightsabers, blasters, the hologram, all that stuff was very well done. Color correction, great job with color correction, guys. It looked very cinematic, very convincing. It felt like an episode of The Mandalorian. The special effects with the new Razor Crest ship, that was cool. Again, looks like a whole new model of the Razor Crest, so that was cool to see. The action was decent. I do think the fog sequence was a bit overexposed and it was a little hard to look at, considering you've got shots that are a little less exposed, and then you got that bright white smoke and the stormtrooper armor. It's just kind of a really jarring transition, composition-wise. But other than that, you've got some great things going on in here. I can only expect the second episode to be a huge upgrade, a huge step up. So I'm definitely looking forward to the future that you guys have in store here. And all around, very entertaining. The entertainment factor was great. The Star Wars factor was definitely there. So without further ado, I want to take a break here. I'm going to review some things, I'm going to write down some numbers, and I'm going to deliver the Rotten Mandalorian score for The Mandalorian episode 16, chapter 16.5. So yes, I will be right back here in a little bit. Okay, folks, so Mando chapter 16 and a half walks away with a Rotten Mandalorian score of 65%. Direction, writing, cinematography, editing, fight choreography, and the overall Star Wars factor was good. There were a lot of things that were left to be desired. I do think there are moments where questions should have been answered and they weren't. Some things were just left to be desired. But at the end of the day, I think you guys were great with your color correction. You were great with your location and set design, the overall visual effects. Acting, I have no complaints for the acting. And the entertainment factor was very high. I was very entertained all the way through. And I'm really looking forward to what you guys have in the future. So keep me updated. I'm excited. I'm hoping that you guys really just really dive into the hearts of the characters and what's motivating them in episode 2. I want to understand where not only where they are and what they're doing, but why they're doing it. So I'm hoping that we get to see some of that in whatever you guys have planned in the future. All right, folks, that's all I have for you today. May the Force be with you always.